Hi, I'm Nicholas Sieben. If I had to ask you what was the major concern in your life, what would you tell me? For a lot of us, it's not something physical. It's not even something outside of us. It's the way we feel. It's the state of our minds. Some of us are so overwhelmed with anxiety that it's hard to get through the day, that it's hard to focus on what we need to focus on. When we ask ourselves, what do we want, we can't even come up with an answer because we're so consumed with this anxiety about not knowing what's going to happen and extreme discomfort around this. It creates a big problem for a lot of us. Others of us are so overwhelmed with depression. We have no motivation. We can't get up out of bed. We don't know what we want because we just don't care about anything. We have such lack of energy. This may manifest physically as lack of actual physical energy to get up and do something. It may be just a mental thing where we can't think. Our minds are so jumbled with a sort of fuzz. This is a major issue for a lot of us, especially in America, actually called the most anxious nation of people on earth. Even though we have it very good here, everything is relatively stable. We pretty much have what we need. There's excess abundance. Why are we so anxious and depressed? Well, these questions of why are important, but even before that, what do we do about it? Those of you who understand what I'm talking about, where anxiety and depression are major issues for you, how do you deal with them? Talk therapy is a very popular way of dealing with it. We do try to figure out why we're feeling anxious, what are the triggers, how we can maybe transform our thinking about these triggers. Also for the depression, to talk about what we might be sublimating. Is it anger that we're turning towards ourselves? All this very common therapeutic, psychoanalytical theory. Very helpful to have support, to get out and talk with people. Others of us might be on pharmaceuticals, heavy suppressant medications to suppress these chaotic feelings of anxiety that come up, especially if they're manifesting in panic disorder, for example. A lot of you know what I'm talking about. A lot of you have very experiential experience with all of this. Myself included, this has been one of my major concerns in my life. It's one of the reasons I became a healer. In my practice, which I'm mainly an acupuncturist, I mostly practice through Chinese medicine. This is including acupuncture, herbal medicine, also a lot of use of essential oils, exercise, and diet. There's a lot of wisdom to be understood that has a lot to do with healing our body and also keeping our body well, but also a lot to do with our minds and our emotions. Much of my clientele actually comes to me for mental and emotional concerns, as mild as generalized anxiety to extreme panic disorder, extreme traumas from the past that they're trying to get over, addictions, all of it. Chinese medicine is very, very rich in information on treating these kinds of issues. Most people think of acupuncture as a purely physical healing modality. Yet the ancient Chinese did not see any difference. There was no separation between the mind and the body. To treat the body through acupuncture, you're also actually treating the mind. The strategies may be different, but the treatment is essentially the same. The use of the thin acupuncture needles on specific points on the skin. So a lot of the questions we have is, how can working on the body through small, thin metal needles, which seems very much physical, affect the mind and the emotions? Well, the way I like to describe it is, acupuncture works very closely with the endocrine system of the body, the hormones, which we know in Western medicine has a very strong effect on the mood, very strong effect on the brain, very strong effect on the blood, which in Chinese medicine is believed that the blood carries aspects of the mind, it carries the emotions, it has a very, very strong effect on the way we feel, the way we think, the way we see. Also, blood chemistry is very, very strong in influencing brain chemistry. If you want to change brain chemistry, which the brain is essentially a depository of our experiences, our perceptions, which very much influence the way we see the world, the way we feel, the way we see ourselves. Even if you're thinking more in the expanded spiritual way of seeing things, it also creates our world for us. We call to us experiences and relationships based on what we expect, what we perceive, what we want. Even though what we want may not be what we're getting, it's still what we're asking for. This is a very kind of expansive discussion. However, I have seen really quite miraculous changes in my patients using acupuncture mostly, and essential oils, in treatment of anxiety, depression, panic, all sorts of trauma, personality disorders, addiction. I've seen people essentially change. I've seen people who are they can't function at a very high level in their lives because of the anxiety or the depression. I see them completely let that go and start to live very full, very free, very happy lives. I've seen people with addictions to smoking, to all sorts of things, food, overeating, who've had these addictions for 20 years, completely let them go. I mean, they're obviously ready to do this, but the treatment of working with acupuncture on the endocrine system, on the body, on the blood chemistry affecting the brain chemistry can have major changing effects. So I invite you to think about what are the things in your life that you're most caught on. Is it some physical issue or is it some mental, emotional issue? And I want you to start considering alternative medicine such as acupuncture for treatment of this. It can be very helpful, very supportive, and I've seen my life change with it, and I've seen the lives of many of my patients changed by it too. So I'm very happy to share this with you, and thank you for listening. And my name, again, is Nicholas Sieben. I am an acupuncturist with a practice in New York City. You can get in touch with me on my website, nicholassieben.com. I'm always happy to talk with you. Thank you.